Welcome to the Sri Sathya Sai International Organization exhibition. This exhibition showcases the activities of the Sri Sathya Sai organization around the world. It consists of education, medical, community service, and publications. Please join me and I'll show you what's inside the exhibition. What we have here is a map showcasing all the countries where the Sri Sathya Sai organization is present. Also on this map, we have countries that conduct medical camps on a regular basis, as well as countries that conduct permanent medical clinics. There are over 126 countries around the world that have official Sathya Sai organization. An important aspect of Sri Sathya Sai organizations are the education institutes that we have around the world. There are approximately 28, and there are many other countries where there are Sri Sathya Sai schools that are established. In addition to the Sathya Sai schools, there are also what is called Sai spiritual education classes that are conducted in those countries. Around the walls, we have showcased different countries and the kinds of activities that go on over there. Let me show you, in a country like Dubai, we have Sai spiritual education. This was established in 1981 in Dubai, and the kinds of activities that are conducted there are group activities that lead to life applications. It allows the children to practice the human values of love, truth, peace, right action, and non-violence. These values are inherent in them. What the Sri Sathya Sai education allows is to blossom those values from within the children. As you can see, there are group activities, there are cultural programs, there's emphasis on group discussions as well as on study circles. We have other examples of Sathya Sai schools. So these are permanent schools. This one is established in Ontario, Canada, where in 2000 there was a permanent school that was established that operates from kindergarten grade through grade 6. This school has the distinction of being rated as one of the top schools in Ontario by an independent institution called the Fraser Institution. Here we have an institute of Sri Sathya Sai education in Thailand and Philippines. This is where teachers are trained to conduct the SSE classes as well as to be able to teach in Sri Sathya Sai schools.
Swami says the spirit the doctors have should be a spirit of sacrifice. So Swami's doctors all over the world have been holding free medical camps and medical clinics to take care of poor people. In this room we have examples of some of those activities. Over here we have an example of a free medical and dental clinic even in the United States of America, where we have doctors going in Los Angeles every Saturday to serve poor and homeless people who don't have insurance. In Oregon, in the United States, we even offered free dental care for patients. In South America, again, the same thing. And Swami says that we should treat animals as well as people. So that in California, once a year, they have a free clinic for dogs and cats to be treated. The doctors and the volunteers that go to the clinic feel as though they get as much out of it as the patients do. Because in doing that selfless service, they open up their hearts and they move closer to Swami and closer to the other people. One of the interesting things in the United States has been that there are many Indians that live there, nearly 1 million. And when they need organ transplants or bone marrow transplants, they have to have a genetic connection with the donor. So there is a donor registration drive there for folks from India to register with a little genetic swab so that if and when there's a need for a donor transplantation, there'll be a whole group of people that they can pull from. In Africa, the Sai organization there found that one of the most important diseases to try to prevent is malaria. So they have started a campaign a number of years ago to give mosquito nets impregnated with a material that keeps the mosquitoes away. And From the beginning of the program until 2006, they've treated more than 500,000 people to prevent malaria. That program was so successful that they also have done it in Thailand, Laos, and Indonesia. In terms of worldwide help for each other, we have Sathya Sai hospitals here in India, and in those hospitals we have training programs for residents in radiology. Since we don't have academic faculty for those residents in the hospitals here, there are doctors in the United States and the United Kingdom that get up at 3 o'clock in the morning and through television broadcast the training programs for the residents in the hospitals and for the residents in Swami's hospitals here. In 2005, there was an international medical conference. 900 doctors from India and around the world met together for 2 days to exchange experiences. One of the things that came out in that conference was a comparison between Swami's super specialty hospitals and the best hospitals in the United States, looking at what the outcome was for patients. And what was discovered was in many cases, Swami's hospitals had better outcomes than even the finest institutions in the United States. Swami's super specialty hospitals here have the latest equipment, highly trained doctors, but the addition that they have is that the patients believe that God is walking in the hallways. Another medical camp was held in Russia and in 2 former Soviet states, Kazakhstan and Ukraine. In the camp in Russia, there were volunteers and doctors from all over Europe and from Russia that went to a rural area. There was a total of 184 volunteers. They treated nearly 3,000 patients, and in addition, they helped renovate an orphanage and a school and a children's home in that village. And they've been going back every year to do that. The international camaraderie between the volunteers and the doctors with the Russians is an example of what Swami tells us to do. Sai Baba tells us that one of the most important things for us to do is to do selfless service for people in need. And that in the course of doing that, we also develop, but it helps those people. In terms of service projects all around the world, there are ongoing ones, and there's also ones that are put together for disaster relief. If you look over here, in Indonesia, there are Sai devotees that have started an orphanage for abandoned children. And there's also a public health water project that they've developed there to provide clean water to 234 families. In Tanzania, Sai devotees have a primary school for blind children. Not only do they support the program and bring teachers, but they provide nutritious meals 3 times a day for those children. In Australia, the Sai devotees felt that it was important to take to the public Swami's 5 values, human values: love, peace, truth, right conduct, and nonviolence. So they've organized a large parade in a major city in India, in Australia, a walk for values, where they demonstrated with signs and songs for the citizens those values. That's also been repeated in Canada and in the United States. Across Europe, Sai devotees in France and Spain, Italy and Greece have given loving service in different programs, caring for the homeless, planting trees, even archery activities for physically disabled people in Italy. In Malaysia, service to the disabled, bringing food to them. In Nepal, there was a disaster where a village was destroyed. Sai devotees went there, they rebuilt houses, they brought shelter for the people and food for the people. And similarly, in Kazakhstan, community service, there was a storm, and Sai devotees went, cleared the wood that had fallen in the parks, and delivered it to people who needed the wood for firewood. Disaster relief. When the tsunami hit in 2004, a team of Sai devotee doctors were flown into Sri Lanka, set up medical clinics and medical relief, not only for their physical illnesses, but a team of psychologists went to help people with the mental problems they were having after all the losses that they felt. In the United States, Hurricane Katrina almost wiped out the city of New Orleans. Again, Sai devotees came there, this time not with medical relief, but young adults came and helped rebuild houses. And they came 1 month, 2 months later, another team came, and they came back on a repeated basis, doing some medical care, but mostly building houses for the people who lost theirs. And now we have a project in Haiti where the earthquake affected nearly 1 million people. Sai devotees from Santo Domingo in the Dominican Republic and Central America went there first to assess what the problems were. Then medical teams have been sent on a continuous basis there to provide health care for the people that were there. Again, disaster relief. When the tsunami hit, not only did we go to Sri Lanka, but also to Indonesia and to Thailand. Again, ongoing services for people hit by the tsunami. And then a tropical storm in Burma, in Myanmar. And again, there were Sai devotees that went there to help the people that were in need.
Bhagwan Sri Sathya Sai Baba's messages are universal and eternal. Over the last 50-60 years, he has given discourses. These discourses have been recorded in Sri Sathya Sai Speaks. Bhagwan has also written himself books that are called Vahinis, which means streams in Sanskrit. The Vahinis range in subject from meditation, righteousness, wisdom, peace, divine love, and a variety of scriptures such as the Bhagavatam. These books have been translated in many different languages for the devotees of those countries to use. Some of the languages are French, German, Russian, Indonesian, Nepali, and Chinese. Devotees around the world are eager to hear of Swami's messages and Swami's teachings in their local languages. That helps them practice the teachings most appropriately. What we also have here are displays of books that were created and published as part of the conferences that have been held over the last 10 years. Examples of these are the Youth Conference, the Education Conference, the Medical Conference, and of course this year we had the ninth World Conference held just over this weekend. Each conference has proceedings that are then distributed to devotees around the world. Let me also show you examples of how Swami has influenced the youth around the world. On this wall we have examples of what youth have sent to us, how Swami has entered their life, how he has impacted them, and how they have changed their daily lives in accordance with Swami's teachings. These range from youths in Switzerland, Bahrain, Sri Lanka, the Netherlands. In fact, all the countries around the world are represented. Swami says the youth are the leaders of tomorrow, so it's very important that we involve the youth in all the activities of the Sri Sathya Sai organization. This year, in preparation for the World Conference, the organization issued some very important discourses of Swami, as well as some of Swami's teachings. These range in profound nature. For example, God is. That is a mantra that Swami gave, and if we practice that God is, then it permeates all of our beings. Swami says God is the embodiment of love. Love is God, live in love. Start the day with love, fill the day with love, spend the day with love, end the day with love. This is the way to God. On a higher level, the concept of I am I. Swami says we are not the body, we are not the mind, we are not the Atma. We must inquire for ourselves who we are. You have to recognize this truth for yourself. And above all, Swami says love all, serve all. If you cannot do anything, then at least love everybody and serve everybody. And you can do that in any way that is appropriate to your situation. Also around the world, there are interfaith conferences that have been established, because Swami emphasizes the universality of all faiths. Swami says he has not come here for establishing a new religion. Rather, he wants the existing religions to flourish. He wants a Hindu to become a better Hindu. He wants a Christian to become a better Christian. Let everybody practice their faiths, and let everybody have an understanding of what the similarities of the faiths are. Although there are multiple faiths, there is only one God, and He is universal, and He is omnipresent.
We are on the grounds of Prashanti Nilayam in Puttaparthi, India, Sri Sathya Sai Baba's ashram near Bangalore, India. And what you see here are pavilions constructed by the various states in India. And inside each one of these 20 pavilions are displays that describe the wonderful service projects, medical camps, schools, wonderful service to humanity that's being done by Sai devotees, followers of Sathya Sai Baba everywhere in India. There are 20 of these wonderful examples of Swami's love spreading throughout India and throughout the world. As you can see, there are enormous crowds that have come to see these displays, and inside each one of these pavilions, the locals and people who have come to see these displays get the opportunity to see Swami's wonderful work.
We have adopted this family also. The father is not, they lost their father, and the children are kept in for adopted for education. Same way, these boys, all these children was adopted for education. Unfortunately, they all lost their fathers. Same way, these families are adopted. This boy was working in a hotel, so we took him, and now all the children were put into the schools. You can see this is Bal Vikas activities, rural Bal Vikas activities here. This is a cloth distribution program. As Haryana is a cold place, so we are distributing winter clothing at the time of those times. This is a person who want to leave the village and go to the city for work. So we told him we can make a tea stall for you, and we spent like 3,000 rupees. Now he can earn in a month like 7,000, and he doesn't want more thing to put in his shop. He said, happy, I am happy with this. These are the scenes of some of the mega medical camps in a village. This is free medicine distributions. You can see some of the doctors, youth doctors coming to our Sathya Sai Seva activities. They are not Sai devotees, but they are inspired by the selfless service. And they say that when you do and organize the next camp, you don't forget us. Please call us, and there's those camps. Same way, these are some more photographs of the village mega medical camps. Sai Ram. You will explain. We have started one more project, drug de-addiction awareness camp. This is in Kurukshetra. Government have started many of the de-addiction centers, but people are not aware of those de-addiction centers. So these are some of the awareness camp in which we are telling there are some of the government centers where you can go and remove all these bad habits. So as Haryana is a cultural agricultural land, and agriculture village has a agricultural activity, a prime activity, so a veterinary camp also, many veterinary camps also organized there. These are some spiritual activity. When we do a mega medical camp, if it starts at 10 o'clock, At 8:30 we do Nagar Sankirtan like this. These boys are chanting Vedam. After that they sing bhajans. Some of the villages, some of the students, boys from this, they are from nearby villages called Behlana near Chandigarh. These are the activities, Bal Vikas activities. We are calling up the village leader also, like Sarpanch of the village, in Sathya Sai activities. Now these children are doing puja to their grandparents, and we have organized one Mother Day program in that they are doing puja to mothers, and Father Day program in that they are doing puja to father, like this, so that they can know the like Matri Deva Bhav and Pitri Deva Bhav, those two values. This is a recent event took place, a disaster, a fire took place in 92 Jhugis slum area, and at the night this all event happened, and the morning we surveyed all that area and collected this material and given to this. You can see this is the scene before and after when we have distributed all this. These provision were for like 4-5 days so that they can manage before the government aid arrived. Om Sai Ram. This is a flood in Kurukshetra, as Haryana is not a flood prone area, but one canal was breached that time. So these youth of Sathya Sai organization were trained in disaster management, so they can use those abilities, and they have helping for evacuating and help relief works. Sai Ram. Yes. These are tree plantation, and as you know, in Kurukshetra, Krishna have given Gita Upadesham. In 1972, Swami came to Kurukshetra.
Yeah, this stall belongs to the technological group of Sri Sathya Sai Seva Nation, and I would like you to take a look at it. Come on in, please. Well, in this Sathya Sai Seva organization, we got a number of services all over the country, and traditionally what we have been doing is simple services like Narayana Seva, bhajans and all that kind of thing. But over the years, things and demands have changed, so we also need to change, and we have put up this particular program to use technological solution to enhance the quality of poor people in the villages. And I would like to tell you that we have taken solutions in all the areas from A to Z. For example, we're beginning with agriculture here. We got an agricultural institute in Mumbai, the Sathya Sai organization, and they have a research center which completely starts on doing different kinds of things that suits different situations. And for example, you see the saline soil cultivation. This has been researched and found the various solutions that are adaptable in difficult dry land conditions. So that is what you see here. And then we go on here. In a place in Uttarakhand in the South India, we have an organic farming place where all the vegetables are made an organic farming procedure. Interestingly, this entire produce, today what has been served in the ashram for this program, the entire vegetables come from this farm, and they're totally organic. And here we come. This is another innovative farming method by which a farmer, when he wants to water the plants through a pump, doesn't have to nearly go to that place. He can operate a pump from his home or from any distance by simply using a cell phone. That's the device that we've been putting on to several places in farmlands around this district. And here it is another innovative thing. With special seeds, they're going to grow watermelon 4 times the normal quantity. And believe me, these watermelons have been sent to Bhagwan in a couple of lorries last week. And here comes another innovative thing. This is in the South India by a place called Tinnavelli. We have put up a technical training school for the poor people and dropout students, and this is being a in various trades, engineering practices like plumbing, welding, electricians, that kind of thing. A number of people have gone and got good jobs by this procedure. And this is the most interesting thing that you're going to see. You know what that is? We have in villages small type of what do you call that? Job works given to people. And this is a place in South India, in Andhra Pradesh, where the women are given some kind of a job for their subsistence. And these guys make what you call a paper honeycomb products. What they use is simple newspaper or any brown paper like this, and then they make a honeycomb out of this, and with that they make panels, and that panels are used in furniture, tables, doors, frames. Ultimately, they make homes, believe me. There's a classic example of one of these plant houses made totally with paper. Believe me, the cost is so much different. If you make a concrete home, it costs about 1.25 lakhs of rupees, and you make this in 90,000 rupees in 4 days. And this has been working for the past 8 months in rain and shine, and nothing happens to that fireproof. And here comes our research institute in Mumbai, and they have produced a protein food for the malnutrition children, and this is the classic composition of that one. And what you see is the sample of this one. These are given to the children and the sick for them to recover. And here is a biscuit also made with a similar composition for all the malnutrition children of the villages in India. Well, this is another thing. In villages we find mostly the crops are not coming up because there is no water. Although there is plenty of rain all over, there is no way to hold the water. Therefore, our people have built watersheds in several villages, and then so the water is available throughout the year, and they are able to cultivate and make a huge quantity of difference in productions. That's what it shows. And here is another thing. You know, in India, villages mostly, they don't have the toilets connected to their homes. This is a very productive way of doing these toilets. They made 45,000 toilets in particular district of Madhya Pradesh. That's what is being shown in this one. And here comes, in Orissa, we had floods and homes were washed away. So Bhagwan has funded this project and sent his people to construct these homes, 900 of them, and given them all to the poor people. This is the construction, this is the model of that particular home. Come on in. Yes, you see, in the villages, you normally find the poor people have no means of cooking, meaning they don't have gas, they don't have electricity or anything like that. Therefore, they poorly depend on this kind of, burners. So, in the olden days, they used to simply burn the wood, and a lot of smoke which comes out harms their eyes and lungs. They are subjected to a lot of disease. So, there is a very simple method of doing a fireplace like this, a burner like this. We use the same purpose, but then the smoke doesn't come out, but it goes through this particular chimney into the air, and so no smokes come inside the house. That's a small, cheap innovation. And here comes a hydropower generation developed by our people to a far remote people where there was no electricity. So this is a small kind of a Pelton wheel, and then a water cistern about 5-6 meters high. The water flows, it turns a generator and supplies water. But it's not a big project. It hardly costs about 75,000 rupees, and it only helps about 60-70 homes. And we supply the power only in the night. But after seeing this, the government, a kind of a copy, they have given supply to 30-40 villages in the same manner. That is how it goes on. And here comes another thing. You know, many places don't have power in this country, remote places, so the villages and schools. So we have now brought the solar technology with the LED lighting systems to supply power and street lights wherever they are now. Here are a variety of things that you can be used, which we have been using in India in several places. And here comes another one. You know, in ashramam here, we got a gokulam, means a large herd of cows are there, and those cows actually they produce milk, and the milk is used for the entire ashramam, you know. So we got a lot of cow dung, about 6 tons a day. What are we going to use about it? So we turn into biogas, and that biogas not only used for cooking for hostels and that place, but also generates power, and we have a small engine which gives power to that. That's how this particular thing is used by the technology group. And here is the heart of this entire system. You know, in India, we have water in many places, but wherever there is water, there is contamination. And this 90% of the problems that you have in villages or probably in urban areas is the water is contaminated, and it gives you all kinds of problems and diseases. So here is one. In some places in India, especially Andhra Pradesh, you have a lot of fluoride in water. The fluoride causes fluorosis, bad dental, decolorization, stomach problems, joint pains and whatnot. So what we do, we have installed this kind of equipment which defluoridizes the water and also removes the total dissolved solids, making it pure, safe drinking water to so many villages, serving 27,000 people with clean and safe water every day at their doorstep. That's the thing that we're going to do. It's entirely managed by the village folk by the guidance of Sri Sathya Sai Seva Organization Techno Group members. Okay? Now, these are the pictures showing how the women folk are taking away the water, drinking water every day to their homes. They're standing up line. There are different villages. We try to put pictures on this particular process. Now here comes another one, which is also defluoridation plant, but this equipment, practically, you can see the model of this here, and you can also see the model outside, a similar one. And that is purely an equipment that removes only fluoride and nothing else at all. But there are some places the TDS levels are good, but fluoride is very high. So we use this kind of equipment. When you compare to the costs of that, when that equipment costs about 3 lakhs and under, this costs about 2 lakhs and under. And this can be kept in an open place where you have to have a room for that one. Okay? Now, what you see here is a domestic form of defluoridation plant where you have a small candle inside, but this candle requires replacement every 2 months. Therefore, it is also very difficult for control. Suppose in a village there are 500 homes, we give 500 of these items, we don't know whether we are using or not. Nobody can check that. So in the initial stage they use that, and after that no one knows what they're doing. So we always advocate a community plant. We have total controls on what is happening in terms of quality, quantity and usage. These are good, but technology is wonderful. But I don't know whether people use it or not. And here comes another one. It's a tetra filter. This doesn't do anything but cleans the water, cleans the algae, fungi and hepatitis A that is part of the water. Understand that? So this is how the technology group is a part of Sathya Sai Seva Organization, and it wants to introduce simple technologies which are affordable, which are manageable, which are self-sustaining and so also operable by the village folks without giving much million-dollar technologies. And we've been doing very well so far in many villages, and it's appreciated. This is one of those things which is close to Bhagavan, and so we are. And I would like you to come and see the concept of the Sathya Sai Organization Technology Group. Here it is. It will give a total idea of what this is all about and what is being done with this basic approach. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Okay, what you saw inside also is a working model. In fact, that one is going in a few days to a college here after the exhibition. This one is also a real working model, but as I told you, this can only defluoride the water. It doesn't do anything more than that. But where there is only fluoride, this is the best equipment that you have. And the one that you saw inside is not only defluoridation, but also reducing the total dissolved solids as well. And as I was telling you about, you can see on my left a solar street light, which is being used in several villages. Absolutely. It just costs about 21,000 rupees, and probably you need to change the battery about 2 years once at a cost of 300 rupees. You do nothing but clean the grass. That's all about it. Thank you very much, sir.